Hey guys, in today's video I'm going to show you the 4 biggest flat serve myths. This is the last video of the serve myth series. If you missed the kick serve myths or the slice serve myths, I'm going to leave in a link in the description below. Myth is a really tough word to say. I said it way too many times in this intro, but let's get right into the flat serve myth. And the funny thing is, the actual flat serve is becoming a myth in itself. And here's the reason why. What I've been observing at the junior level, at the college level, at the high level, and even at the very elite level, is that the flat serve is becoming almost extinct. Of course, there are still some big time flat servers on tour. There's no argument about that. Players such as Raonic, Isner, Opelka, Sam Querrey, and Nick Kyrgios, Daniil Medvedev, and there are many others as well who still have a good flat serve. So back in the day, in the 90s, there was incredible servers on tour, arguably much better servers than we have today. And I'm not the only one saying this. I heard an interview with Boris Becker. I'm going to link this interview in my description below, where Boris Becker also said that the serves have become weaker. And one of the main reasons for this is that players do not utilize flat serves like they used to anymore. Often it's a hybrid serve, something between a kick and a slice serve. The true flat serve is very rarely seen in today's game. And guys, the most common technically suboptimal flat serve that I see at the elite level is a situation, for example, where players will toss the ball too far to the left if they're right-handed, and then they flatten the ball out from that position. It looks something like this. They will throw the ball way over to the left and then flatten it out. And often players will lose balance on their finish as a result of that. And I'll give you one example of an elite level player, possibly the next #1 in the world with a suboptimal flat serve technique, and that's Stefanos Tsitsipas. If you will watch him hit a first serve, you will see that it looks a little bit awkward, and the reason is he's sideways way too long, which is more of a kick serve characteristic. He also has a tendency to toss the ball a little bit too far to the left, which is also a kick serve characteristic. As a result of that, he will often have to bend his body in an uncomfortable way to make contact, and he often lands and then quickly loses balance after hitting a flat serve. Now, he's such a great player, he still has a great serve, but in my opinion, if he did those two things different, it would be even better. So ask yourself, how is this possible? How is it possible that the flat serve is going away? Well, I can give you one possible reason, and that is the obsession on the kick serve. Do me a favor, go into the YouTube search bar, type in how to hit a flat serve. You're going to get very few videos. But if you type in how to hit a kick serve, you will get thousands upon thousands of kick serve videos. So there's an obsession on the kick serve, and the flat serve has gone by the wayside. So why is the flat serve so important? Well, this is the reason why we have 2 serves. See, the kick serve is the perfect second serve. If you want to know in more detail why that's the case, check out my video on why the kick serve is the perfect second serve. The flat serve is a riskier serve, no doubt about that, but this is the hardest serve we have. This is when we reach our max speeds, and why shouldn't we do that when we have 2 serves available? It doesn't matter if you miss that flat serve, because you have a second serve as a kick serve that's going to be very reliable. Of course, you can't always serve flat. You have to mix it up every now and then. You throw in a slice or even throw in a kick as a first serve, but it's a shame if you don't have a flat serve that's going to give you some free points or some possible aces. I made an entire video on how to hit a flat serve. Again, I'm going to leave a link in the description below. You can check it out, but I'm going to give you a quick recap of this lesson. So basically, what you need to utilize when you hit a flat serve is torso rotation, and also you want to leave the toss at least at 12 o'clock, or ideally a little bit past 12 o'clock, somewhere around the 1 o'clock area. So between 12 and 1 o'clock is going to be the ideal position for your toss. And now it's a very simple serve. You're going to be rotating your torso into the contact, and you're going to have more of a down and forward delivery. What I do with players that have trouble with the flat serve, I actually have them practice overheads, because the technique is very similar. Again, we're hitting down and forward the same way we would on an overhead. Let me try another one. So you can practice overheads, and the technique is going to translate well into your flat serve. So now when you go to the baseline, of course, you're not going to be hitting that short like you would on overhead. The serve has to be a little bit longer in general, but the technique is very similar in the sense that you're simply rotating into the contact and then going forward and down. Okay guys, let me demonstrate a flat serve. I'm going to go out wide and I'm simply going to focus on rotating into the contact and then hitting down and forward. Okay, not bad. And this was cold. I did not warm up. So there you see, a flat serve is a great serve because we get our maximum speed. And if we hit it into the right target, this can easily translate into a service winner or an ace. And now on to the actual flat serve myths. So the first one is the idea that we can only hit a flat serve in a Continental grip. So actually, there were some elite level players, some of the best servers of all time, such as Boris Becker and Patrick Rafter, who served with an Australian grip. For you guys that don't know what an Australian grip, it is the corner between the Eastern forehand grip and the Continental grip. So if you place your base knuckle at that edge, that is the Australian grip. So if you find yourself a little bit over to this side, I'm actually okay with it. And some players experience more power in an Australian grip compared to a Continental grip. Now, if you watched any of my serve videos, you know that I'm a proponent of a Continental grip for the simple reason that once you have the Continental grip, you don't really have to worry about grip changes on the serve. So this is my recommendation. However, there are some players who find more strength if they go slightly over towards the forehand side. So remember not to go over towards the Eastern forehand side. You are going to get problems with this type of grip. This is going to be too severe of a grip change. But if you're just slightly over on that edge, which is called the Australian grip, this is perfectly fine to use on your flat serve. And guys, the next flat serve myth is the idea that a certain type of pronation will give us a flat serve. This is absolutely not true. Fact is that even at the elite level, some players will continue to pronate on some flat serves, but they will very often not continue to pronate on others. So in other words, all high-level players will pronate into the contact. So they will pronate into the contact from this position, but then what happens afterwards is either a continuing pronation or a non-continuing pronation. This is true for all serves. If you're more interested finding out in detail how this works, check out my video, continuing pronation versus non-continuing pronation. So what happens in reality on a flat serve or any other serve for that matter is that you're going to have absolutely no idea whether you're continuing to pronate or not. This part of the serve is over in a blink of an eye. These are milliseconds. You're not going to know whether you did this or this, and therefore do not obsess on it. If you find yourself watching slow-mo footage of your flat serve and you see this type of movement after the serve, don't worry, some of the greatest servers of all time, such as Ivo Karlovic, will sometimes do the same thing. They will not always continue to pronate after the serve, so this is not a cause of concern at all. And finally, the most important flat serve myth is the idea that we are snapping the wrist on a flat serve. This is a very dangerous myth, and I want you guys to understand this is absolutely not what happens on any serve, but especially not the fastest serve we have, which is a flat serve. If you indeed would try to use your wrist on your flat serve, this can cause some serious injuries. And here's the reality of trying to use the wrist on a flat serve. What you will need to do in order to accomplish this is a slowing down of the most important part of the serve, which is the contact. What naturally happens is that the serve will be abruptly shortened because of it, and it looks something like this. I'm going to try to focus on my wrist and I'm going to snap it down, and I can tell you this does not feel good. I actually do feel pain a little bit in my wrist from just doing that one serve. So under absolutely no circumstance should you ever try to do this. There's no flat serve at the high level that happens with a wrist snap. The wrist is in a stable position. If you take a look at the wrist on a flat serve, you will see that it's absolutely not moving even when continuing pronation is present. See, the wrist will not snap down this way. The continuing pronation will occur while the wrist is still in a stable position. Now, one confusing thing is the Sampras technique. A lot of players will try to copy the Sampras flat serve technique, which is basically a bending of the forearm. It looks something like this. So Sampras used to bend his forearm down. But even this technique, which I don't necessarily recommend because it does put a lot of strain on the arm, if you can pull it off, that's fine, absolutely nothing wrong with it. But if you're trying to do the sand press technique and you're feeling some pain in your elbow or your shoulder, by no means should you continue doing that. You're much better off keeping the arm straight as you're finishing your flat serve. But even on the sand press technique, the wrist is not used. If you take a close look at the sand press technique, and this is what happens. A sand press would go down with this forearm like this, and the elbow would pop up. But if you take a look at the wrist, it's absolutely not moving when this movement of the forearm is taking place. The wrist is still in a stable position. So even on the sand press technique, there's absolutely no wrist movement whatsoever. And guys, just think how seriously dangerous the idea is that on the fastest stroke in tennis, which is the flat serve, that we're going to make all the power by using our wrist. The wrist will not be able to absorb this for very long. And very soon you're going to find yourself catching some kind of wrist injury. So again, trying to snap the wrist on the flat serve is possibly the most dangerous myth there is in tennis, and under no circumstance should you try to do this. So what should you do instead? Well, don't think of the wrist at all. Naturally, the wrist will not hurt itself unless you force it to. By forcing this type of movement of the wrist right around the contact, you are exposing yourself to possible injury. So when you don't think of the wrist, naturally the wrist is going to be in a more neutral position throughout the contact zone, and it's going to be perfectly safe to hit the flat serve at high speeds.